Hello, everybody. I'm 2 minutes late for this live this week. What a mess. So, we are going to be talking about your business story. So, my lighting is a mess. Excuse me. Anyway, we're going to talk about your business story and how it also feeds into why you're not showing up and all of that stuff. So if you are struggling to figure out what the story should be, also having a business story helps with all the content that you need to make, all of that good stuff. Hi everybody, hi the people joining. So your business story is going to help you with your content, and you really need to spend time on the business story and why you're doing what you're doing, because that informs the ecosystem of the rest of your business, and how you show up and what you talk about and all of that good stuff. And so in our membership this week, that's what we were doing, or rather it was an exercise for last week, which is basically called mining your business story. And how the exercise looks is you just answer questions without you realizing that you are actually crafting your business story, and your business story then becomes your content, which is what brings which is what helps you find your tribe and your potential customers or clients, whatever the thing is. So it was really cool to see how the women were lit up by the idea of, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that I was actually writing my business story. And when they went back, because that whole exercise walks you through it, and then you put all the dots together, and then you realize that that's what you've done. You've created the business story, you've created your brand promise, and you've basically just created a whole ecosystem of topics that you can now use when you come online to kind of let people know what you do and how you help them get the same solutions that you've been able to get. And yeah, it just helps you have a whole proper conversation and not be weird about showing up, right? So the business story is the spark, and the reason you're probably confused about what your business story should be and what you should post online is because you want it to be more glamorous than it maybe is. You don't feel it's glamorous enough. You don't feel people are going to listen to it. But what you miss is that the details of your story is where you find your exact customer or potential client, the details, because and this is informs the idea that there is no saturated market, because people don't buy things or services, they buy the person, and a person wants to know that you understand exactly where they are, right? And you're going to understand exactly where the people who resonate with your story come from, because you walked the experience. So if you're not going to be honest, if you're not going to be real, if you just want to get money and move on, that's also fine, I guess. But I'm more about building things that are sustainable, like something that's going to last longer than a trend. And for that, you're going to have to talk about what was the spark. When was the first time you thought, I'm over this, I need to do something about it. This is the problem that I have, I need to fix it. Those are the stories that you talk about. That's what you tell people about. You tell me, how did you get here? Why must I buy from you? Or why must I listen to you? Because your potential client is always only asking, do you get me, right? I need to understand that you get me. For example, I understand that the moms who want to start online businesses and just be able to make money while you're sleeping, like have things that go off and you wake up in the morning and you've got a notification that some money has come in. The moms who want that, I get that they've tried, they've gone online, right? I understand that struggle, because I didn't wake up and know how to already. I did the block of watching this YouTube video, then watching that one, and then circling back to this one, and then thinking, oh, okay, I get it, and then start doing something, and then I can't, and then I go back to YouTube, and like it's a back and forth, and then you realize it's been years and nothing really is sticking out. Nothing really is making sense. Like for me, it came together when the very first time and the very first way I made visibly, like I did something and money came in online and money would come in when I was sleeping, was when I actually sat down and decided I've always wanted to write. And what eventually pushed me to just do it was, firstly, I was like, okay, let me see if I can actually just sit down and write a book from start to finish. That was my only motivation. I was not looking to sell it at the time. I was not looking to do anything else. I just wanted to see if this dream, I keep saying that I keep wanting to write a book, but I'm not sitting my ass down and writing a book. Can I actually do it? And that's when I did. That's the first time I made money online, where the first book got pre-orders, so people bought the book before it was even completed because I ran pre-orders, which is another way, like the white labeling business. I showed you how to run a pre-order. It's pretty much in the same, like you pretty much run a book pre-order the same way. In fact, a book one might even be a little easier than white label pre-orders. But the point I'm making is that if you want to build something sustainable, you're going to have to do the work of mining your business story. And so you do need to think about, when was the first time? What was the inciting incident? Because you need to think of yourself as a character in your movie. You're the main character in this movie, and something happens that sets you on a quest. And we need to know, what's the thing that put you on this timeline? What set you on this quest, right? And so you tell us that this happened and I got so fed up. And then I decided to do the next thing. And then I did the next thing. And then I stumbled over here. And after I stumbled over here, this is what I did to get out of that ditch. And because that is the story, that is the natural progression of how you finally have success. And we need to see you go through all of it. A lot of people want to report on just the success. You want to tell me that, hey, I made this thing, buy it. And I'm like, why? Or I have the service, come book a session. Why am I doing any of that, ma'am? You know? So it's important to go back to the spark. Why are you here? Why is it you? You know? I mean, one of the moms that I have in our membership, she talks about how she used to be very shy showing up, and you know, she's shy, she feels some type of way about being seen, and which is a lot of people. It's a lot of us. It's even me. I tell you guys this every live, that every live I do, I am not coming out here guns blazing and feeling like I'm feeling myself. No. I'm still nervous, but it's also, this is a promise I made to myself, that I'm going to show up at 10:30 for at least 30 minutes every Thursday. I'm going to do a live. And so I show up. Sometimes I let people know that it's happening. Other times, I just pop up, and those who pop in, and people come in and out. And if you can remove this idea of, you need to put something out and the world immediately needs to respond to it like it's the greatest thing on earth, you'll be fine. And you'll understand that until you believe it, the world has no business believing it. Because if the world believes something before you do, you're not going to have, you won't have capacity to hold it. And so this is when you're going to mess things up. You find those people who start a business and then it literally blows up, and then they actually don't have the systems, they don't have the people to hold it. And people will say it's a good problem to have in business. It's a good problem to have if you can quickly manage it. But some people then just kind of fall apart. This is where people are like, fine, I'll refund you. And people are weird. Like, the business owner becomes weird to people who are now supporting them. But it's because maybe you grew too fast before you could hold it. So don't look at it as a bad thing when you post something and you're not getting the views or you're not getting the follows and all of that stuff. use that time as your practice time. You are practicing to show up on screen. You're practicing to refine your business story, which is your messaging. Let's just put it there. That when you ask, oh, I don't know how to market my business. When people say, I don't know how to market my business, it's because you don't know the story of your business. You don't know what the story of your business is. You don't know what people are actually struggling in. A lot of people decide, oh, I want to start a business selling handbags. Okay, who's paying you for it? And why are they paying you? Rarely do we think about what's the story behind this, right? And I'm not saying don't sell handbags. I'm saying what's the story behind you selling handbags. And if your story is because Mang Mang is also selling handbags and making a whole lot of money doing it, I promise you're not going to last selling handbags because you don't have a deeper why. You don't have a deeper story, right? So this is also why I share ideas on my page about business ideas people can start, is because people tend to think they need to guard their ideas. Most people are not going to do anything about the idea, and even if they start, if they don't have their own origin story of why they want to do something, it's not going to get far. You know what I mean? So just going back to, guys, talking is a lot. My throat's so dry. Going back to, if you can figure out your business story, you've literally won the battle of content that you need to post and the type of clients that you're going to have. You're actually going to attract the people you do want to work with. People who are not going to give you a hard time. People who are not going to be wondering if should they trust you or should they not. Like all of those things, all those objections that you deal with when you're going in without covering all the bases. That's all gone when you take the time to actually what do you call this? When you take the time to learn your business story, to figure it out, and you might think you know it, which is another thing the ladies discovered, that you think you know why you're starting a business until you have really clarifying questions. And then you're like, okay, wait a minute, I didn't know this affected me this way. And when you get into the feelings of that first day you decided that this is what I'm going to do, where were you? Who were you with? What were you feeling? What was going on? Get into those feelings, right? And then you realize that business is actually such a spiritual thing as well. It's a spiritual practice to be in business. And if you are going to build something that's sustainable, you're going to have to be okay with vulnerability. This is not to say you need to open yourself up and overshare online with people who have not earned the right to hear your story. But it's very important to know where you are with your story, to know how deeply you've met yourself with the story. Because when you start believing, when you know that this is your lived experience, even the way you show up and talk to people, people can feel that. We can also feel when you're just slapping on a story, when you're just saying, oh, and I get this a lot with mom content, where the moms were saying, hey moms, aren't you tired of this and that and this and that? And yes, these are the real things. Moms are tired of feeling overstretched. Moms are tired of having to think about everyone's schedules. All of those things are true, but there is a way that when someone else will say it and you'll be like, this person has lived this experience, they know exactly what they're talking about. And there's a way where someone is just saying it because this is how you find the people who are having certain struggles. We can tell the difference. And this might also be the reason your business is stuck, is because you're maybe in a business where you don't have the lived experience, which is not a bad thing. If you don't have the lived experience, then you talk about not having the lived experience. Sorry, I've been sick this week and it's not going away. But you talk about the lived experience, right? If you don't have the lived experience, you talk about not having the lived experience, and you talk about how you got to pick that particular business, right? So, for example, what's an example? Let's say, let's say I decide to help people lose weight. I don't know why I'm doing that. And clearly, I don't have that lived experience of trying to lose weight, but I know the scientific way to lose weight because I studied this certain thing, and I know, and I've had a few people use my program for free, and these are the results that they've gotten. Why I'm not using the program is a difference. Maybe I don't use the program because I've got a health challenge or whatever, but it doesn't mean I can't give it as a service. Do you understand? Because the only thing is that just be honest. Just be honest. So A, you don't feel like a fraud. And B, you're not moving around your life feeling like people are going to catch you out. Because this is also why you don't want to show up. You don't want to show up because you're like, I don't know if I'm an expert at this. I don't know if I'm good enough to be showing up with this. All of these things. No one said you had to be. You just have to be honest about you showing up, the way you're showing up. That's all. Anyway, so if any of you have got questions, please obviously put them in the section there, and I will answer whatever issues you're actually having about creating your business story. And as I said, your business story is going to help you with the rest of your content because you know why you're here, you know who you're serving. You're talking about your own journey through this specific you're talking through your own journey through the specific problem and obstacle and how you've overcome it, and now you're helping